Iran warned the Trump administration and the entire world that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner is manipulating Iran negotiations and this war in order to make a fortune. Iran can't even believe what they're seeing right now. They're like, you guys know that these Epstein-aligned fraudsters is making a fortune on this war, right? It's a level of corruption that Iran and the rest of the world can't even begin to comprehend. These capitalist bastards are actually plunging the world into global chaos, tanking financial markets, and mass murdering people just to increase their wealth, all while Americans are forced to pay more at the pump and suffering through massive inflation. Iranians are legitimately confused on how Americans tolerate this. Iran has calculated that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner has made around $9 billion manipulating this war. And this shouldn't surprise anyone because Donald Trump himself admitted that he engaged in mass market manipulation.
The stock market is quite brilliant. And every time we said something amazing, like we're going to settle, it would go up. And every time we said something negative, like, guess what? We're not going to be able to settle. It would go down very big, Peter. Huh? Very, very big. Tells you something.
The wealth that Donald Trump and his family gained throughout his presidency makes him the most corrupt public official of all time.
What's poppin'? My friends, my family, we are back once again. Iran is witnessing everything go on, and they can't believe their eyes. They can't believe what they're seeing. Like they leaked this to the press. They leaked this to, I believe it was a drop site in Gray Zone. And they're looking at Americans. They're like, do you see what Donald Trump and his family is doing right now? As you guys are calling us a regime with a hard R. Donald Trump is and his family is making bank, plunging the world into chaos. Soldiers are getting wiped out by Iran. And the Trump administration is essentially like, yeah, that's a sacrifice that we are willing to make. His own supporters telling him that they're struggling to afford gas. That's a sacrifice we're willing to make, guys. more Goy soldiers dead. Trump said that they destroyed Iran's capacity, completely demilitarized them. Now this conflict started up again, and now Fox News and neocons are in full-blown panic mode because they realize that Donald Trump fed them bullshit. But let's get to it. We got a friend. I'm very interested in hearing the perspective of Sarah today. I'm very proud of my friend. They do amazing work at DDGeopolitics. You guys are on the ground in Tehran. My friend Sarah always relaxed.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing, Sarah?
Cool.
You well?
I'm doing well. I just got back to Tehran. Just let me know if the stream gets shaky, and I'll do my best to mitigate that. But everybody's like out and about in Tehran right now, so the internet's not very good.
Yeah, I'm so proud to see the amazing journalism that you're doing, like the real coverage that is not being shown in Western media. Like you're showing life in everyday Tehran. I want to get your perspective. How it's been since you've been there? I appreciate you making time because I know you're tired. You guys have been running around.
No, I'm actually really happy to do this because this is my first stream since I got here, and I'm really happy to do it with you. I haven't even streamed my own show. So I'm really glad to be here, and I'm really glad that the time sort of worked out. I have to be up. I'm going to be up anyway because Chris has a stream right after me, and so no worries about keeping us up.
Yeah.
We're up until 3 in the morning anyway. But everything here is
big shout out to Chris.
Big shout out to Chris. Lots of love.
We gotta get him back on as well. I love Chris.
Yeah, have him on. He'll be on Suleiman right after you and I are finished streaming. So if you guys want to check that out after.
So how Tehran? I've been following.
Tehran is so lit. Like Tehran is a dope city. Like it is a dope city. Like I could live here for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I was talking to Sarah and she's like, I ain't coming back. She's like, I ain't coming back. I was like, I don't blame her.
I'm not. I'm not
Like,
coming
as soon
back.
as
I
I'm
don't
out
know
of
if
here,
I'll.
bro, I'm gonna get in trouble for illegally immigrating somewhere.
Well, you just go on a trip and become an orphan. That's what happens to most of these expats. You just go on a trip and then they say, not a good idea for you to go back. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm almost curious to like kind of I was listening to your intro, obviously, and you were saying like about the Fox News thing. It's outside of the country, inside of the country, the news used to give me like seizures. Outside of the country, I don't even know how you guys deal with it because I really can't keep up with it. So I'm kind of curious as
Damn,
to what's going on that end as well.
these Fox News watching boomers have no idea what's going on in the world right now. And the cope from Fox News, because they've been selling the narrative that Iran is begging to reach a negotiation settlement with Trump. They're begging Donald Trump. Fam, I've seen segments I haven't had time to show you guys. I torture you guys with a segment a few times, but I haven't shown you guys anyone recently. They had General Jack Keane. He's running overtime to spread hopium to the American people. Like the stuff they're saying is deranged. Like they saying Iran is begging for negotiations. They're being hammered. Tehran is on fire right now. So,
No.
Sarah, is Tehran? Before I show you this clip, is Tehran on fire? How has it
N-
been
n-
on the ground?
The first night we were here, we heard air defense, but now I think that it may have just been a test because we only heard two air defense interceptors. That was like on the first or second night when we were in Tehran. So, oh no, I'm sorry. That was actually after we got back from Meshad. So that was after the funeral. And we were in a different hotel. And we thought we heard some air defense. Maybe we didn't even hear it and it was just some backfire. But other than that, Iran has been completely quiet. The air defense hasn't even activated in Tehran since that night, if that was even air defense. I even went all the way down south. I just got back, but I was down south on the Iraqi Iran border. Nothing. Nothing
Really?
is going on down there. And that's like even I was confused because I'm tracking the strikes and everything on both sides and I'm seeing like I'll get like news from the United like I'll see the American news. It's like we're pounding Chabahar and Bandar Abbas and all of
Yeah.
these things, even Isfahan, and then the Iranian news will come out and it'll be like, ooh, nothing happened there. And I'm
It's
like, okay, that's also
great.
strange, so I don't but really, like, nothing is happening here. I don't know what the Americans are actually doing because what they're saying they're doing, they're not. Like,
If
Tehran
you
is
was
not
to
on
watch
fire.
Fox News, they will have you believe that Tehran is on fire, that Iranians are upset with their government for not negotiating with Trump.
No.
Is that wrong?
No, it's the opposite. They don't want negotiations. We had actually
Yeah.
just got back, um about an hour and a half ago, we were driving through Tehran. The streets are completely full of people. Hezbollah flags everywhere. Hezbollah, and everybody is saying like Lebanon is a red line. Hezbollah is a red line. They
As
will
it
not
is.
negotiate unless Lebanon and Hezbollah are protected. Obviously, Yemen and Palestine go without saying, but they won't. That is an absolute red line for them. You almost see an equal amount of Hezbollah flags as you do Iran flags, which is quite impressive. Everybody's outside. We actually just posted a video of the amusement park is full. Nothing is happening, and honestly, I should. Did I get you back? I went out for a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, you was breaking up just a little bit.
Okay,
I'm gonna show you guys what's
but yeah, life is quite normal here. Yeah.
Iran is a big country, and that's another example why there was Western delusions into thinking that they can easily just uh militarily defeat Iran. Not, it wouldn't be the first empire to fall in an embarrassing way. And then you have Maria uh Bartiromo. I don't know how to fucking say her name, but
Hmm.
she's from Fox News. She's like the world must be so confusing for her. Like, because this is her reaction to Iran retaliating to and end up killing United States soldiers. Bases being dismantled in the region. This clip is pure gold as far as I'm concerned.
I don't understand how it's possible that Iran has the capabilities to fight this way and continue to try to lash out at Gulf countries and U.S. military bases because the U.S. has obliterated Iran's military, and the president continues to reiterate that. I don't understand.
The president says so, Sarah.
Obliterated Iran's
Dude,
military, and the president continues to reiterate that.
The
this is
president.
actually like terrifying, honestly, because it's like I keep saying this to Americans. I'm like, you guys have no clue what's going on here. Rudy
Yeah,
Giuliani shared a video, and I immediately retweeted it and said, "This is the UAE in 2020. It was a warehouse on fire." Like
yeah,
shit
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, what is going on in America? There is no depletion of capability here. None. They have fucked up every layer of defense from here to Jordan. There is one layer of defense left before they get to Tel Aviv, and that is Jordan. And that's it. The end. The end.
Yeah, we're living in a post-truth society in the United States, and a lot of people quit
What the hell
watching
does
the
that
social
mean?
media.
What does that mean? Post-truth society.
What is true and what is fake, it doesn't matter as long as it advances the interests of the Zionist regime. It doesn't matter if Hamas actually threw babies in ovens. We're gonna say they did though. You guys see what I'm saying here? Like, this is the post-truth reality that the ruling class carved out. Well, they're being fed on MSNBC. And every once in a while, if you follow me on Twitter, you will see I will post like a clip, and it'd be like some moderate shit I'll see. They like the American people live in a completely alternate reality. Everything they were told, like for example, this lady is a very prominent mainstream journalist, but you guys see how
Yeah.
she can't even begin to question whether Donald Trump is telling the truth. Can you imagine how pathetic of an existence that this is?
I don't understand how it's possible that Iran has the capabilities to fight this way and continue to try to lash out at Gulf countries and U.S. military bases because the U.S. has obliterated Iran's military, and the president continues to reiterate that.
The president saying destroy Iran military. How could they possibly retaliate in
I
such a
went
way?
after somebody else on I went after someone on Twitter that was saying that. I just said, "Are you retarded?" And then I retweeted the tweet and I was like explaining to people like this is why you have no clue what's going on. And when your fucking gas prices are $10 a gallon, you're gonna blame like Yemen instead of
Yeah.
actually like realizing what the hell is going on. Like instead of like listen to like I'm so glad you played it 3 times because it's like I don't understand how Iranians have the power to do, and it's like because you didn't obliterate it. Like you can't come to the conclusion that Trump's a fucking liar. He lies about everything he says. So no, we're just gonna sit here and say,
Yeah.
I'm in disbelief about what the Iranians are able to do. Is that my
That
good
clip is
Maria Bartiromo
Barcelona.
impression? Mm.
Yeah, that clip is gold because it sums up the cluelessness of the Western media pundit class as they tell you that Russian media. I've been on press TV. I've been on quote unquote Iranian state media a few times.
We saw you on Press TV. Mashallah. Mashallah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was honored to be there. I was honored to be there. I'm like, you guys sure? I'll do it. Yeah.
That's how I am when people ask me. I'm like, me? All right. I mean, I'll come.
Yeah, I think it went well. But Press TV, bro, whenever I see them, they're spitting facts, fam. Like
Yeah.
whenever I see Chinese reporters, they are so on point, bro. They seem just smart as hell. Like they seem very on top of it. Compare that to what you see in the BBC. Compare that to what you see in Fox News. I can't believe Iran. I thought president said they destroyed the military. That's
Right.
your
I'm just
reporting.
wondering how we can't make the jump from being like, oh my God, my president's lied to me. They're not destroyed. It's like, that's what he told me, so it must be true.
Yeah, now they panicking over this too because they can't believe that this is happening. The Goy soldiers are being sacrificed, Sarah.
I saw your post. It was a little bit rough.
Yeah, it
It was a little
was.
bit rough, but a
I
little bit
admit it. I
needed.
admit it. I admit it. It was a little bit rough.
And you know why? It's such an interesting moment because um the racial divisions are so enormous in the United States for no reason. I don't know why the fuck people are even arguing about this stuff. But then to see probably like she was a brown girl,
Yeah.
obviously, I think she was Hispanic, definitely a Latina. and now they want to. This woman's probably could possibly be a dreamer. I don't know anything about the status of her parents, and everybody wants to use her death as fodder to do something to Iran, and it makes me sick.
It
It
is
makes me
crazy.
sick.
Have you seen how they've been
Um,
talking about her in the media? And like in the corporate media, it's sick. I should have found a clip for you guys, but they keep emphasizing the word sacrifice. And I'm like, what
really,
kind of weird ass fucking brainwashing that they are very actively spreading to the American people. The
I don't
sacrifice,
like
we
that
respect the
word.
sacrifice. Like even
Yeah,
MSNBC, Fox News, everyone, it's sacrifice, sacrifice, They want to
that feels
convince
Jewish.
Americans that throwing your life away, fighting wars for the ruling class, it's some sort of honorable sacrifice. I found it dark. You know what I'm talking about, Sarah?
Yeah, I feel it feels Jewish. It feels Jewish to me.
Yeah, that's the way to put it.
I'm not even kidding. Like this woman has been. I'm not gonna rag on this woman at all. I served in the military. I know a lot of like children of immigrants or even immigrants themselves that signed up for the military for various reasons. So I won't talk shit. A lot of my sailors were minorities, and a lot of them, especially from the Philippines and Latin American countries, and just trying to get a citizenship and make and like have a job and a lot, I mean, even the brainwashing, you could even see some of the effects of Western propaganda on some Iranians. So you can imagine what it's like to grow up in Latin America or the Philippines with the amount of slop you probably get about how great America is. So I'm
Yeah,
not gonna like rag on this girl, and give her a bunch of shit because of course she's passed away and that's a tragedy. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna point out the hypocrisy of the fucking pieces of shit right wingers who have shit
yeah,
on brown people and immigrants for the last 2 years and now want to use this poor woman's death as some sort of
exactly,
fucking soapbox.
exactly.
And
And
they
I
why
will.
are they using her so much more than the guy? There's a white guy that died too,
They're sending a
and a brown
message.
guy that died too.
Yep, these are very important points you're making, Sarah. Very important points.
Well, I mean, I pay attention to this stuff, and I don't want American soldiers to die. I mean, it's inevitable. I don't want anybody's soldiers to die, but like
Yeah,
it's like, and then the whole handling of it after. First, they blamed Russia and China, which is insane because they're like whatever, and then they blamed Jordan, and the audacity. I saw Trump speaking today. He said well, when you don't have people operating your equipment, sometimes bad things happen. That doesn't happen. Other people don't operate our equipment. They're not allowed to. Jordanians are not operating American air defense systems while they're being bombed by Iran. That's asinine to even think about. Even in Ukraine, they don't. Those of you aren't Ukrainians, even though they've received training. Those are Americans and Westerners running those HIMARS and ATACMS and everything. So the people running the when Iran hit Kuwait, right? They hit 5 or 6 ATACMS on the border. They killed Americans because Americans operate the weapon systems. So why in Jordan, a place that's even hotter than Kuwait right now, would Jordanians who have no real military to speak of, why would they be running our air defense? This is asinine. Then the other story
right.
of the guy, he was blown up while he was disarming a drone. What do these people think we're retarded? He took a drone to the face. Just say that he took a drone to the face. Stop lying to people. You don't disarm a drone in the middle of a firefight. This is retardation for people to even believe this. And it just and even juxtaposing it with the Maria thing. I'm in disbelief. And you know what? This really goes to show that like all of this like ragging on the whether it was mainstream, you and I read a New York Times and the Wall Street Journal all the time. That's where I get the bulk of my information from. If you can read that and then critically think from it, you're golden.
Yeah,
But that goes to show that we need real journalism. We don't need fucking influencers
absolutely.
wondering what happened because they've been listening to the president and getting their notes from Caroline Levitt or whatever her name is. So it's
Yeah,
it's we're in like a really weird sort of it's fascism. It's like all the things that they told me that North Korea was. It's just we're in a very weird hypocritical time. You said post-truth, which is just incredible to say. And I guess that might even be it. We're just in a place where truth doesn't matter. And when you're here, people will ask me, they'll be like, what do you think's gonna happen next? I'm like, how can you even know?
yeah,
How can you even know when the one side is not dwelling in reality at all? You have no idea how they're gonna act because you have no idea what they're thinking. What do you think is gonna happen?
I said many times before, I have no idea how this ends. I warned our viewers that the ruling class, they have no exit strategy. They have
Exactly.
no end game here. That's why I've been screaming from the rooftops, going crazy on my streams, talking about the need and for an anti-war movement and coalition to be established right now because they have no plan. And you see these
None.
MAGA slop accounts. These are the accounts that you're talking about. These MAGA slop accounts and these people who call themselves journalists. They will then tweet stuff out like total MAGA domination. Operation Epstein theory, massive success. Another victory for Donald Trump. They just feeding people bullshit. Absolute but it's important for
Well,
them
I
to do
mean,
that.
like, what are the options, right? I wrote a recent post. I think I might have pinned it actually because it was doing so well, and I thought the analysis was good. And it was talking about how Iran has systematically depleted all the defenses in this region, and they've even depleted the Patriot air defense system around the world. So that we're getting to the point where what options do the Americans actually have? And their options seem to be a ground invasion, which I just flew down to the south where a ground invasion would have to happen. It looks like fucking Mars, okay? And it's 100, I'm not kidding, Nick, it is 145 degrees. You
Wow.
can only be outside for like in the sun for like 10, 15 minutes before you need to find shade and water. So how are they going to invade? This will have to wait until at least the fall or winter, number one. Number two, what are they going to do? Nuke a mountain? What will that do? Like, what does that accomplish? Do you know what I mean? Like, it all just feels like there's no options left besides either nuking them or actually admitting that you've lost. And I'm worried that like they're so invested in these insane lies, so much so that Maria Bartiromo is confused on on Fox News. You know, it's all the way up the chain. Bartiromo or whatever her name is. Um,
Barrett-Roma. I don't know if that
Bartiromo. Who the fuck knows
Roma.
this stupid
Fucking
wop dago? Just kidding. I'm Italian. But
fair.
but yeah, even for her to be confused all the way up the chain, you're like, okay, well then, are you gonna like, is he willing to disappoint these people? Is he willing to? Because you're gonna have to either tell the truth or you're gonna have to go all in, and all in means like I guess a nuke because you can't do a ground invasion right now. There's also been the suggestion that they'll take an island or two, but General Razai said, well, okay, let them take an island. How are they going to get food there? How are they going to stay there?
They
What are they
seem
going to do?
checkmate.
The United States is in a really bad position. There have been no talks of ceasefire negotiations. Um,
Yeah.
once the Yemenis announced their blockade of Bab el-Mandeb
Yes.
and the Saudi ports, they can't stop that anymore. They can't take that away from the Yemenis. It's been 12 years of siege. They've been waiting for this and starving to death, and they're not going to stop. So, and the once the pilgrimage of Arbaeen in Iraq is over, that'll be over on August 5th. Just so people know, there's 20 million pilgrims marching through Iran right now to go to the shrine in Karbala to commemorate the journey of Imam Hussein. And so it's like 20 to 25 million people. And so their objective right now is to make sure those people get to complete their religious pilgrimage safely and nobody gets hurt because the United States has dropped off ISIS members inside of Iraq. If you guys remember, they took the helicopters from Syria. So they're there too. So the after the Arbaeen is over on August 5th, the ball will start rolling in Iraq as well. Don't forget, Kuwait is almost defenseless, and that was formerly an Iraqi what's the word like government. So these are things that these what we're seeing now, and I was talking about it last night, you know, you always I kind of always just did like the axis of resistance thing. I always thought it was kind of cringe, right? Or like I just didn't say it because it just felt so like bleh. But now it's like I'm finally getting to see this actual axis of resistance tangibly come together and
Yeah.
form a united front. When the Yemenis announced their blockade, you got a message from Hezbollah, you got a message from the PMF, you got a message from the IRGC, all saying, "Congratulations, we support you, we are here for you, we'll do anything you need us to do," et cetera, et cetera. That is the axis of resistance. Now you have the IRGC and the Iranian government saying Hezbollah and Lebanon are a red line. That is the axis of resistance. This is something that people made fun of, people tried to break, or people said that it didn't exist at all. And to just kind of watch this thing come together and blossom has
There was a
been
lot of those
like,
Sunni Muslim Zionists who will say that, like the people who supported the Syria regime change,
what a
the
mess that is. What a
yeah,
mess.
the Al Jazeera, Shahid Bosin, Mehdi
Ugh.
Hassan. Like these are the people who supported the overthrow Syria. The same way they like condemn Hezbollah, they take political positions that will harm the resistance, like them condemning Iran as well, for example, because then they will say, "Well, you guys say there is a resistance. That's more of a conspiracy theory. There's no real resistance. The real resistance will be supporting Jelani, who's begging for normalized relations with Israel."
He's a like, and that's another thing. You see the desperation in Trump. Just the fact that he'll even go to Jolani and ask for these things is indicative of total desperation.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
asked to fight
Syria.
Hezbollah. He's like, "Can you fight
Yeah.
Hezbollah for
Could
me?"
you imagine the chaos ensuing? And there's chaos in Syria right now. They're still massacring Alawites and lying and saying that they're connected to Hezbollah. They'll never get to Hezbollah because these people are so fucking psychotic. These
Yeah,
Turkic people and these Uyghurs and all these people, they have all these blood feuds and all of this crazy shit going on. You think they'll ever make it to Lebanon? They're never gonna make it there. They're gonna kill each other and everything. They were killing each other the other day in Aleppo. How are you gonna get them to fight Hezbollah? And not only that, you could also see the desperation with Trump in the fact that he knows he's losing the war, because he's trying to do it. He's trying to buy his way out of it. He's trying to
yeah,
bribe the presidents of Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq.
yeah. Begging NATO for help. There's a
Oh
completely
my
broken
God. Then they said they
man.
were going to sue. They were going to take Iran to the UN to open up the strait. I had to sit down. I was like, you literally just told us that the international law and the UN don't matter now. You want to go ask them to fucking help? Who's going to invade Iran if the UN says it's illegal? You? Because that's the only person that reacts when the UN says invade something. Nothing
And
makes
now,
any sense. It's actually quite scary.
yeah, that's why I don't watch a lot of fiction because nonfiction is just insane right now. Like there's no
Exactly.
movies, there's no TV show that could ever replicate what the hell we're
There may
seeing.
be like a Turkish soap opera, maybe a Turkish soap opera or a Nigerian soap opera. Have you ever watched a Nigerian soap opera? This might compare to that.
That sounds entertaining as hell for sure. We have
What what do you think about like, okay, so this is also where I'm at with so the election rigging stuff. Obviously we got our nice little, I'm calling it the Eurasian axis for now until we find a better name, but the DPRK, China, Iran, and Russia all rigging the United States elections. And and then the Knesset basically dissolving a couple days later and saying they're going to have elections October 7th or October 7th, October 27th. My apologies. I'm thinking that neither of them are going to have elections because why would Trump engage in elections if he can just say they're rigged? Should we have elections? What are your thoughts about, like, there's no way that Netanyahu's going to be out of power in November. That's not in the realm of possibility for me unless he's dead. And I don't even see people campaigning for midterms, not even Democrats.
the Republicans, they know
So
they're cooked. Because they pass the baton to each other. They needed Donald Trump to come in and fuck shit up because Biden essentially destroyed the Democratic Party. Do you guys remember how many people was talking about Dem exiting? Now they got the new appointed baby faces to save the Democratic Party. The new progressives that they allowed to win. They strategically allowed to win to help ease a lot of this pressure that was building. There are a lot of people who was willing to quit the Democratic Party. And they're like, Trump, hey, bro, we need you to scare the shit out of them. Like, go full corrupt, go full Zionist, full warmongers, all the campaign promises you have, throw them in the trash. We need you to scare the fuck out of everybody because we need to rehabilitate the Democratic Party. And trust and believe, the Republican Party will be destroyed because of the Trump administration. And then when Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom or the
oh
next
my God.
Democrat that they choose, God knows. They talking about John Ossoff, the
Oh my
Zionist
God.
controlled Jewish supremacist in Georgia. Guys, all these people that
It
they
never
like for a
ends.
reason, by the way. So I think he's a
It
sleeper.
never ends.
Yeah, it never ends. I think he's a sleeper.
I forgot what I was going to say. I had something else I wanted. Oh, the Red Scare 2.0.
Yeah.
How I know, like, we've been joking about it, but I kind of want to talk about like the actual gravity of the situation, because I don't know exactly what they're planning on doing, but I saw the post from Ken Klippenstein about like the first grouping of names, and like the people on it. I was like, these are just like, some of them are socialists, some of them are Democrats. These are people like Amy fucking Goodman. I'm like, Amy Goodman is a communist now? Like, what? I must be like off the fucking Overton. I must be thrown out the Overton window. Like, I don't even know like where we stand. And I'm not there anymore. But I worry about people, dissidents like you, or even the people members of the ACP. Chris and I have been talking about our concerns for those guys, and kind of making sure that everybody's safe and stuff. But what are their plans for these communists? And that's another thing that's terrifying, because I keep asking them, like, can somebody tell me what a communist is? And they just keep giving me examples of people who they think are communists. Okay, that's not defining it for me, because to me,
That's the
like,
point,
AOC is
girl.
not a communist. So what can somebody tell me what it is? And nobody can. And we're doing all of this while people tell me that communism is like stealing from people, while Trump defrauds Americans out of $9 billion, I
Absolutely.
think it is so far. I'm just really
Absolutely.
confused. So, and I'm kind of scared for people that maybe are not even, they're just leftists. They're not even communists or even socialists. They're just leftists. So what do you think is going to happen to these people? How far can they really take this stuff? I mean, we've seen them seize bank accounts, shut down payment processing and all that. What do you think?
Yeah. What's the best way for me to put this? I think there's a lot of people who are panicking. Like, I'm trying to be careful what I say, because there are two thoughts to be had here. You guys realize they never ended their class war. They never ended their assault on the real dissidents. Like Ken Klippenstein and a lot of these like Democrat adjacent journalists, they are saying Donald Trump is now starting to go after socialists and communists. Like, fam, that started under Biden. We covered
Yeah, what are
that.
you
They
talking
did
about?
it.
I was the one who took all the heat under Biden. Like,
Yeah,
I got visited by the FBI 4 times under Biden.
exactly.
4 times.
Like my friend Farrah,
So
you
this
guys know
ain't
how many
just a Trump thing.
yeah, you know how many people I know who've been harassed? Rome is harassed by his local police department all the time. We shared
Oh
how
yeah, he definitely is.
the police department keep destroying his benches and shit. Like they keep fuck with him. Like there's been nonstop retaliation against Thomas. So I'm not trying to shoot it, but there are a lot of people who are they're being a
And I
little
would say that Rome is
ridiculous
pretty
about it.
authentic to communism
No,
too, even like
Rome
in the
is the
way that he
realest nigga
act.
you will ever
Like,
see. Rome, sorry, sir. Go
Chris
ahead.
was asking about him, so make sure you tell Rome that we said hi.
Yeah, I definitely will.
But
I'm
yeah,
excited to
that
meet
that
with Rome.
frightens me. It frightens me, because now it's like mutual aid is communism. Being nice is communism. Not liking Trump is communism. It's like I can't. And I keep telling people, like, you guys know that like communism is the dissolution of the state, right? That's the ultimate goal. And I don't really know anybody that even wants that. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what is then the whole thing with Cuba? And I'm like, why are you guys happy to freely admit that you've been subverted by a country that you've said is a failed state and has no electricity? Why are you not embarrassed? Like, if this happened in a country like Russia or China, they wouldn't talk about it. They would just take care of the subversion and be done. And here it's like, Cuba's subverting you. And you're like, you're willing to
Yeah,
admit that?
yeah. So to finish my thought, because I'm not completely shooting. I just want to make an overall point, fam, that this is nothing that really changing. I find the story humorous because it's a sign that they are panicking. In the past, they didn't need to be this overt about their fascism, because back in the '80s, all you had to do was call someone a communist. It's over for them. Now you call
Exactly.
someone a communist, even if they're not a communist, and people are like, so. Bro, I got people on the
Hmm.
right talking to me. I got people like Jake Shields. I got many other people on the right who follow me and support my work. And then they're like, don't you know that he's a communist? Even they don't care. The people on the right that don't even care. So this is a panic because they never stopped going after us. Like Biden, they went after
No.
Chairman Amali. They went after Chairman Amali because Chairman Amali of the Huru Socialist Movement wanted peace with Russia. And Joe Biden tried to lock that motherfucker up for 25 years for that.
Yep.
It was the right wing course that saved them. Isn't that crazy? So these things always continues. The class war always continue. The story to
It
me
never
is
ends.
humorous because they're calling Democrats communists. So I'm like, they're providing a shield damn near for me. They providing a
Right.
shield. So it
Yeah,
kind of
that's what I said.
ironic.
I keep saying to people, I'm like, okay, if they're starting with AOC and Amy Goodman, I'm very far down on the list.
Yeah.
We've
But
got,
to be
they
clear,
might take years.
yeah. To be clear, though, I'm not saying you guys shouldn't be worried. Like, there's one thing, these two thoughts to be had, that you got to understand that these things never really changed. There's a lot of this narrative is being used for political purposes. But the reality is, now, this is stuff I've been covering for years now. A lot of people thought I was being an ultra. Isn't that what the Gen Zers call it now? The Zoomer. That you're being an ultra, Nick. You're being an alarmist, Nick. What have I been covering, fam, for the last 6 years?
Hmm.
I've been covering how the West is going full blown fascist. You know who's the only one who's dumb enough to say it out loud? You want to know who the only administration who is dumb enough to repeat to the populace their plans to crack down on all dissent? The Trump administration. The Trump administration never say stuff like, we're making lists, we're checking them twice. Meanwhile, a smart liberal administration would do everything that Donald Trump is doing, like regarding the real dissonance, but they'd be a little bit more quiet about it. They will
Why do you think they're
support.
so loud? Don't you think that's part of it? Like that's part of the LARP. Like they think
Yeah,
they're
it is.
fascists. They think that they're like this Reich. It's like I feel like it's very LARPy and so, oh, you're gonna make a list? Ooh. Amy Goodman,
That's
these
the
people are
other part.
protected. How are they gonna go after these people?
That's the other part of it. I think we talk about this a little bit on X, Sarah, because once again, there's a lot of ways you can analyze what's going on here. The other way you can look at this is it also a grift. You know what I mean? These NGOs, these think tanks pop up. The truth
Yep.
about communism.
Well, they
We're
asked
going
for
to
money. They asked for
expose
what,
communism.
350 billion?
Yeah.
350 billion for to fight communism? It's a money grab. It's a money laundering exercise. Another one.
Yeah.
Another grift. I think I
So
posted that on a post. I was like, "Oh, so the Red Scare is just another grift." Okay.
So if you're some asshole who friends with Eric Trump or somebody, let's say you're friends with Jared Kushner, you have the end somewhere. You want to make a few $1 billion off taxpayer money. What do? I'm creating a foundation to go after communism in the United States. And then you have JD Vance and Marco Rubio. We are pledging $350 billion of taxpayer money to go towards these
Exactly.
NGOs who's going to fight communism. And the boomers keep falling for it. The
And they never
suburbanites
follow
keep
through with
falling for it.
anything. Look, they never follow through with anything, so that's another reason. I mean, I'm not saying don't be scared. I'm still saying be vigilant and be smart. But I mean, look at ICE. Unfortunately, yes, they have like harmed people, so I'm not dismissing that. But they never follow through on any of their bullshit either. We're gonna deport everybody. We're gonna deport every Somali. We're gonna deport them all. And I'm like, y'all motherfuckers haven't deported nobody. Not that I care, but y'all really haven't done nothing. And now they're at our airports. They're getting more money. It's like on and on and on. It's like the same thing. It's like they'll never really do anything. It's all about just continuing the grift almost. We're dealing with a whole entire class of grifters. Trump has been a grifter his entire
Yeah.
life. They're all grifters. Marco Rubio has been a Mormon, a Catholic, and I think now he's an evangelical Christian. These people are grifters. Look at Ted Cruz. Like they'll just go wherever the money blows. They don't fucking care. So we're just dealing with a whole like entire class of grifters and maybe it won't be as bad because they just won't ever really do the things that they say they'll do. They just want the money. I don't know. I don't know though. It kind of freaked me out because I worry a lot about people, especially the ACP. Like they're like young kids, right? I
I
don't
know
want
the
like
fear is
them
there. Don't get me
to be
wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong. The
yeah.
fear is there. But please can you continue your thoughts, Sarah.
Yeah, I just think about people like you. Like, I'm not really a communist. I mean, communist sympathetic, but
They are
I don't consider
definitely
myself.
watching you though, because you're
Oh, for sure.
so
But like for
doesn't
me,
really
I'm looking
matter.
at these people and I'm like, I look at people who are outwardly communist, even like Chris, he's not, I wouldn't even call him much of a communist, but I mean, like the ACP that I think about them a lot because I think that what they've done has been majority positive and to have this sort of crackdown on a group of kids that are literally just doing like mutual aid and like
That's why
reading
Jackson he can't even come
philosophy.
back to the United States. Isn't he like in exile? Like, bro, if that's why I would never
Both
travel
of
to the
them are.
UK. Yeah, I would never travel to the UK. You guys realize if I travel to the UK, I will get arrested damn near on site. After everything
The
I
funny thing
said.
about the UK, though, the good thing about the UK is that it treats its citizens better than it treats the guests. In our country, it's the opposite.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, interesting.
when you
Yeah,
come
that's
through the border.
why do you guys think I'm working and trying to build coalitions with the ACP? I mean, with the Green Party in Chicago this week. Like we are the ones who make up these movements. And if we know that the government is cracking down on dissidents, and we know they're cracking down on anti-imperialists, don't we need unity more than ever right now?
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
that's why I never understood the people who spend their time. Like there are people who have whole ass accounts only dedicated to go after ACP because someone said something
It's
that triggered them
retarded.
one time. Do you
Dude, when
understand what
I
we're
when
going
I
through right
got
now?
when I got my last time I got detained, when I got detained for coming back from Iraq, I was mostly interrogated about the ACP. And I was like, you're
I mean,
really gonna
it's
come to me and
terrifying.
ask me, yeah, and I said, you're really gonna come to me and ask me about a bunch of like university aged students, like university aged people that do mutual aid? Like that's really what the threat is here? It was really obviously I'm not gonna rat on anybody ever. I mean, they asked me about Chris, they asked me about Jackson, but mostly they really want to know about ACP and what they were doing. And I literally was like, they clean parks and read books. Like they're not bad people. These are like actually like people who want like a better world. But that is threatening. To want a better world is so threatening to the class structure that
Yeah,
the ACP is going to be a terrorist org probably in a couple months.
people preaching reformism. Like, do you guys understand what we're up against? They're cracking down on dissidents. Like the UK and Germany, full blown fascist state. They're
Hmm.
straight up arresting grandmothers, teenagers, and then people are like, oh, we gotta go after the ACP. Let's expose like. Do you understand what's going on? Do you like they're seizing the West Bank, still slaughtering Palestinians in Gaza, slaughtered nearly 5,000 our Lebanese brothers and sisters, building cop cities all over the country. You're seeing a massive um, expansion of police budgets. You're seeing flock cameras everywhere. You're seeing AI being implemented in policing systems. Like all this stuff is going on, and people are like, I want to expose the ACP. Okay, you're so fucking serious. You're so badass. Like so that's why my thing right now, like whether and a lot of these people I had some disagreements with. Like me and Shama, we talk about some things we disagree with on the show. I may disagree with some things people say in the Green Party, but I'm meeting with them in Chicago with Rome this week. Like right now, it's so important for us to start building these resistance movements and these outside movements just to prep what the fuck the ruling class has planned for us. So that's the real part. This is what I've been covering for years. That's why I have like a chuckle. Like I chuckle at the people who just because Donald Trump is saying it, they just now freaking out. But I've been saying this
Right.
for years about how this is
You
escalating.
have. I'll vouch for that. I'll vouch for Nick. I have been following him since 2020, and he has been saying this shit since then. I started following Nick during the George Floyd riots or George Floyd protests, whatever your preference is. And he has been saying he's been consistent this entire
Yeah.
time.
So that's the only thing I'm saying. Like you guys can be worried, but this has been an ongoing strategy and plan of the ruling class to crack down on dissidents, especially as you have more like the Iran war. Just to quickly pivot back to that. Like I have a plug I find the receipt where like 70%, 65% of the American people
Hmm.
they support the peace deal. Fam, you guys realize
Yep.
how crazy that is? Because I showed you guys segments on this show, and you can watch any segment from MSNBC, CNN, Western corporate media. Sarah, you know I watch these people like, oh, dude, they spend all their time shitting on this peace deal. Also, in the guise of being anti-Trump, everything Trump does is bad. So they're telling these people every day that this peace deal is awful. That it will be a gift to Iran. We can't give billions of dollars to Iran, despite the media running smear job after smear job on the idea of peace with Iran. The American people are still opposed to it. I am
I
seeing
posted that
suburbanites,
poll.
wine moms. I am seeing these people who've been at brunch for my entire life. You know the kind of people who will lock the door when they see me walk by. They walk by the car. I'm talking about these wine moms. I'm seeing them saying, yeah, why are we sending so much taxpayer money to Israel? What the hell? Down with Bibi Netanyahu. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Susan is saying that? So you guys see what I'm saying? So there's a tidal wave of dissent against the ruling class that's coming, especially, and I'm sorry to be morbid when I say this, but especially as the boomers become less and less % of the population, the ruling class knows this. They're not dummies, guys. I know they play the part. They're not dumb though. They see what's going on. They see what's happening. Why do you think Europe is becoming militarized? Why do you think the UK is passing laws saying anyone who opposes Israel and the existence of Israel, we're going to treat as a terrorist? They love giving the illusion that they have a free democracy, a free society. But once they start seeing real dissent, you're going to see the fangs bare themselves. You're going to see why you liberals will always side with the fascists over the socialist revolutionary. And you're seeing that in real time. You're seeing that in real time with just the UK, for example. I love picking on the UK. Like the Keir Starmer
Fuck
Labour
them.
Party. Yeah, I've never gone to UK. I've never gone. I'm terrified to go there, man. But the Keir Starmer wanted to tank the Labor coalition, wanted to destroy the left in order to build Israel's power and create an era of fascism. And he don't care how unpopular he gets in doing that. He know he got blown the fuck out. He wanted to allow a right winger to win. That's what Joe Biden and the Democrats did, to allow a crazy, quote unquote, far right winger win in order to implement their fascism. And once Democrat win, they sound all good. Guy, we gotta stand against Trump. Yeah, let's have an arms embargo of Israel. Bro, the second they take office, they about to do some fuck shit again. You're gonna have AOC and them apologize for it. They never will stop. And then whenever the pressure builds too much, that's when they will rely on police state authoritarianism. So yeah, we should be concerned about Sarah, but it's something that we always be aware of, and it will continue even after Trump leaves. 100%.
Well, if anybody, including you, Nick, needs to get out or just needs to go somewhere for a little bit, just let me know, because it's
Yeah,
more
I'm definitely
important to
gonna
keep.
support you guys.
It's more important to keep the dissidents safe, even if we have to form a government in exile. Like we'll just do what we have to do. Um, I'm frightened enough to where I'm not coming back until at least after the midterms,
I don't
if
blame
they
you.
happen. I'm not comfortable with Americans right now. I'm not comfortable with their irrationality. I'm just not comfortable with them at all. And I don't feel comfortable going back home. You know, I used Black Max Blumenthal as sort of the canary in the coal mine. I was like, if he's getting detained and fucked with, what chance do I have? Send Nick to China. I'd happily send Nick to China if that's where he wants to go.
Oh yeah, we definitely go. I said we may have to follow the Lenin model, because wasn't Lenin exiled and he
Hmm.
started building outside? I think that we may have to follow that model, my friend.
I'm a
I thought we were.
Juche. I'm Juche all the way, babe. I'm Juche. Like
Yeah.
I
Sarah.
want nationalistic like communism. Like I want a strong state
Base.
with with a strong leader and and strong sense of nationalism and historical unity. That's the kind of government that I fantasize about living under is something like that. I'm more like a Nazbol, I would say, than I don't know. I'm like kind of I don't know where I'm at, but I'm definitely not someone that would not be on Donald Trump's naughty list. So, I mean, I've been detained under both presidents. I was FBI'd under Biden, and then I was detained, strip searched, cavity searched, and all my devices taken under Trump when I came back from Iraq. And then while we were in Iraq, we were followed by a drone, an American drone, on our last couple days. So, you know, these people are psychotic. They're literally psychotic. And um their irrationality, everything always comes home. Chickens always come home to roost, blow back, whatever you want to call it. You sow, then you reap, whatever it is. This is all of that. You don't get to run around doing like fascist coups everywhere and knocking out left wingers and like killing people and starting wars everywhere and forever. That shit comes home. Like that, you can't put that energy out in the world and it have no place to go. And these people want vengeance now. Look at the Yemenis. They've waited 12 years for vengeance. You think there's not people waiting decades to take vengeance against the United States? Even if it is other Americans. It's just this stuff doesn't go away. I wrote a post about like Donald Trump, like I was like the oil thing. I was like, yo, Donald Trump tried to get oil out of Nigeria by faking a Christian genocide. It didn't work. Donald Trump tried to get oil out of Venezuela. They didn't plan correctly and then it got hit by two devastating earthquakes. So that's out. Now Donald Trump is trying to get oil out of Iraq and the freaking Iranians blew up the port. So this is all like very karmic. Like this is all very like you're reaping what you've sowed. Like the whirlwind is coming.
Yeah.
This doesn't get you don't get to act like this forever. Never.
Yeah. I always had. I said it before. I always had a hard time pegging your politics, Sarah. But It seems
Yeah,
like
because I
I would
don't feel
say
like
that
I'm
I would
not a
say you're a
communist
patriot who want to
socially.
hold the ruling class accountable. Like me, I want it.
Yeah.
Like whether the the labels are fun to talk about. I think I'm more closely related to a Marxist Leninist, but I want complete
Um,
subjugation. I want complete subjugation of the capitalist class. You know what I mean? Like the
yeah.
complete.
I'm more like I'm in the East Asians. Like I really like Mao and I really like Juche, but I'm not full on communist. I don't know. I don't really know where I land either. I
Yeah,
have too much nationalism in me to be a communist. Communism is usually inherently against nationalism unless you use the adaptations like Maoism or Mao Zedong thought or Juche. They have strong nationalistic, I think that a country needs nationalism to survive. And we're looking at civilizational states like China, Iran, Russia. They have a very strong nationalistic core, and that's what gets them through a lot of their adversity,
yeah.
especially Iranians.
I always struggle like with because everyone seems to use the term nationalist differently. Like whenever right wingers use it, they seem dumb as fuck
I
about it.
Yeah, I
Whenever
think what I
leftists say
mean is
something
more
about it,
like what we say patriotism is what
yeah,
normal people say is nationalism. It's like historical acuity,
yeah,
like understanding politics and your setting, like understanding your own history and taking pride in that. It's not nationalism like I want you to go out and kill the ethnic minorities.
yeah,
Like
absolutely,
I want you to
absolutely.
go
We know you're not
take
saying
over the
that.
next state. I just want people to be confident and kind of the reason why Iran is so difficult to beat is because they have such a strong sense of nationalism and historical acumen and political acumen, and they all have that same understanding, and that's why you see that strong core of nationalism. It's not coming from somebody out in the streets saying like, they're all going to come kill us. We have to band together. It's because they've learned throughout the years of the stress on their education system to be incredibly like historically minded and
Yeah,
understand that they're a civilizational state and to take pride in that, and they should take pride in that.
yeah. The only reason I say that because I see people use that term nationalist in so many different contexts. Like there are these what I would define as these white culture warrior traitors. These people don't give a
Mm.
damn about the American working class. They don't care about people whether they have health care. They don't care whether people have child care. They don't care about the state of our infrastructure. They don't care about shit. They only care about the culture war. You know what I mean? They like, I'm a nationalist. These are the Nick Fuentes types. They say they're
No,
nationalists,
no,
but
no,
they
no,
really
no. They're
only
not
care about
nationalists.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can't
This
be a
this is what I was
nationalist in the
asking you to
United States. We have no nation. How can you be? What nation are you a nationalist for? We have a thousand different fucking nations inside the United States. There's no coherent nation. So what are you a nationalist for? That's what I keep
absolutely.
asking people. They're like, I just want them to assimilate, and I'm like, to what? Like, what are they supposed to
That's
assimilate
a great
to?
point.
Like what do you want me to be nationalistic about? Like I'm an Italian slash Russian American. Like where do I fit in here? Like what am I supposed to I'm not an Anglo, I'm not a Protestant. I don't know anything about this shit. We aren't taught any history. Why should I have any pride in this? I don't understand it. Like we need Christian nationalism. Nigga, what? Like what are you what's going on? Like we don't even have a nation. And let alone a Christian nation. Half of it's freaking Hindi. Like, you know what I mean? It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
So I don't think that nationalism is even possible in the United States because there's no nation and there's no cultural core. But I respect nationalism in other states that obviously I
Yeah,
don't want
that's
like
what I was probing.
violence.
That's
But
why I
yeah,
was asking you about, and that's why I wanted to explore this a little bit because when people
YouTube
say
gave me
that,
commercials every. Oh, never mind. I was reading this super chat.
oh yeah, sorry, I'm gonna read some of these super chats later because whenever I hear Americans say they're nationalists, I naturally roll my eye because it seems like they have no real definition of that.
Well, I'm
But
like, to what nation?
I've seen people say that China is nationalist, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. When you talk to
They are.
the Chinese patriots, they seem nationalist. So you guys see what I mean when I say there's people who use it for different definitions. Because when I see Chinese nationalism, I'm like, dude, that's base as fuck, and I want that
Well,
here.
the Jews taught us that nationalism was bad because European nationalism to them is bad. So we're not allowed to have nationalism in the West. That's why you see in the East and even in the subcontinent and in parts of Africa, the nationalism is strong, strong. Burkina Faso and Niger have huge nationalistic movements. And like we talked about them already, the East Asians have huge nationalistic movements. Russia has a great nationalistic movement. Um, that's because everybody in the West is taught that nationalism is bad, nationalism is fascism, and it's not. It's
What is
not. But I have to go. I'm really sorry. But
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
do like 2 more minutes. But yeah.
yeah. I ask you one question. We can wrap up. 'Cause I can keep this an hour. 'Cause
Yeah.
I got some travel plans.
Now
I was
Chris has
curious.
to jump on the internet. So
Yeah. What is a Nazbol? Because I see people
a
throw that around.
national Bolshevik. So basically it's like a Bolshevik with nationalism. It's like Juche. Juche is like national Bolshevism.
Okay. I always want to ask someone that because I see people
I
use
just
all
say it because it sounds very intimidating. People
this.
people be
Everyone in the
like
chat was
people
like,
be
"What
like,
you say?"
yeah, people be like, "You're a communist," and I'm like, "Actually, I'm a Nazbol, so I'm like even more nightmarish than a communist." So come on, Habibi, like come to Tehran.
Okay, I see. I see. I always find these discussions about terms to be and labels to be interesting. It's not too important, but it's like, what is how do people define these terms? Whenever I ask people, they always get like different answers. It seems like there's not really a consistency on these things. So that's why I was interested in seeing what your thoughts on that was. But Sarah, thank you for joining
Everything
me.
here is so skewed that how can you even have the time? I can't even figure anything out when I'm trying to explain it to the Americans because it's like I don't even know how you define these things. I'm still can't get an answer on what a communist is. So if any of the viewers, please email me or somebody like message me or something, and if they come out with a definition of communism that we're supposed to like adhere to.
Yeah. Once again, I Marxist Leninism seems like it's the what fits me the most, but I stand for my people.
Who cares? Let's make
I
our
stand
own.
on
I'm
business.
actually making my own ideology. It's called Sinwarism.
Sinwar,
From
I fuck
after
with it.
after Yahya Sinwar. So fuck it, let's just make our own. If we don't fit into a box, I'll make my
Yeah.
own. So,
Yeah. Just
but
know I
yeah,
stand
thank
on
you so
business.
much.
Thank
I
you,
hope we
Sarah.
get to do it again soon. You can feel free, ask me anytime. I'll come on. But yeah, I gotta hop off so Chris can hop on with Sully. So thank you
Yeah,
so
for
much,
sure.
guys, and I see
Yeah.
you soon. Bye.
Thank you for joining me, Sarah. I have a few more things I want to cover. Sarah from DDG, my friend. My friend. I said it before. I was about to go join Sarah in Tehran, but I had some passport issues I had to get fixed. So maybe next time I'm gonna be in exile. I'm gonna be in Tehran. My friend Jason Smith in China. I got a few places I can go. My friend Nico House in Brazil. It's only marathon for the FBI. Blow my house down. I can't go to Europe because of what I tweeted about the Nazi NATO army for sure. I want to quickly cover a few more things, and before we wrap up, I also want to get to the Ukraine story. Um, Before I wrap up as well, because I'm not sure when the next time I can do a stream. That's why I have to do the next segment here because I'm driving out to Chicago starting tomorrow. I have a media panel with, actually, I'm sure they have a graphic. I think Jill Stein tweeted a graphic out. Let me see if I can find it. So there's a media panel on Friday. I'm more than happy to try to build something with my Green Party brothers and sisters. Whenever I talk to people from the Green Party, they seem to be on point when it comes to imperialism, understanding class dynamics. So this is what Jill Stein tweeted. This is what I'm doing this week, and that's why I got covered this last segment because I'm not sure when next time go live. Join me at Uprising for the People, July 23rd to 26th, Chicago, with Roger Waters, Butch Ware, Medea Benjamin, Brianna Joy Gray. Look at all these names. There's a lot of great people that are going to be here. My homie Lee Camp's going to be there too. I'm going to be there. Media panel on Friday. Rome's going to be there as well, so it's going to be fun. But let's cover this. Let's finish the stream up. Regarding the dead Goy soldiers, before I get to the Ukraine, I found this video funny because Fox News, who is crafting an alternate reality, or at least they're trying to craft an alternate reality, they tried to do PR for Donald Trump after the soldiers were murdered by Iran, more Goy soldiers dying on behalf of Israel. So this is Fox News pretending that Donald Trump is grieving over the death of soldiers, and then they immediately show a clip where he obviously don't give a fuck. And listen to how they mention the sacrifice. This is what I mentioned was there earlier. They're emphasizing the importance of Goy sacrifices.
The 2 U.S. service members were killed, leaving a third missing, though unidentified remains have been found. That person is still unidentified at this time. The president, though, is expressing profound grief for this.
Well, we feel very badly, but those great people, those great patriots are out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Obviously, he's not mourning. Obviously, not grieving. He don't give a fuck. Like, bro, can you at least slow down your speeds? Do something to make it sound like you give a damn. He thinks they're suckers and losers for fighting and dying for the ruling class, and he's right in a lot of ways. That's why Donald Trump and the ruling class, they legitimately can't even believe that these people are willing to die for them. Donald Trump, I can't. These motherfuckers gonna die for me. They joined the military knowing that I'm the commander in chief right now. They can't believe it themselves. That's why, like, I can't believe the sacrifice he made for my agenda. It's crazy. I think this clip is comedy. I think a lot of people on Twitter found it funny too.
2 U.S. service members were killed, leaving a third missing, though unidentified remains have been found. That person is still unidentified at this time. The president, though, is expressing profound grief for this.
Well, we feel very badly, but those great people, those great patriots are out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But we hit them very hard again tonight. And we did that in honor of the probably three as opposed to two great patriots.
They're great patriots because they threw their life away for no reason. And now this is today. So they got more, bro. They are bringing these soldiers out from the freezer. And they're going to be slowly introducing them to society. We have soldier Jack John. He died of a mysterious illness. Pulling bodies out of the freezer. Now they pulled another body out of the freezer. Oh, there's another soldier who died. We said on this show before that I think it's 100% possible that the Pentagon was lying about the casualty count. And I say there's no reason to ever discount theories that you have of the ruling class conspiring to lie to the American people. And it seems like, once again, I was right. Yeah, the freezer. Yeah, they pulling the soldiers out of the freezer and waiting until a perfect time to announce that they're dead. Because there was foreign outlets. And I know a lot of Americans were like, yeah, you're saying that Indian media said that. Yeah, you're saying that RT reported this. Yeah, you're saying that Press TV is reporting this. Yeah, you're saying that Chinese state media is reporting this. I saw an African news outlet mention all the dead soldiers. And I'm like, guys, you realize that they still have to maintain some sort of credibility, right? So I'm not saying that you should just believe them wholeheartedly. But when I saw all these media outlets, they like, man, we got credible reporting that more soldiers died than what the Trump administration is reporting. The people in the West just couldn't believe it. And I was like, bro, that seemed 100% plausible because I saw the damage. Like, we seen the clips on Twitter where they was posting. We know what Iran is capable of, and they was hammering these U.S. bases. And now the establishment is starting to acknowledge something that we already knew. Look, the Pentagon intentionally concealed dozens of troop injuries and loss of equipment during recent Iranian strikes, raising questions about transparency and accuracy of casualty counts. The New York Times is just now reporting they were behind RBN once again for weeks. For weeks we've been saying the narrative coming from the Pentagon didn't make sense. We've seen Iran hammer these bases, and then CENTCOM would come out with a statement saying only 3 soldiers was injured. They had some small boo-boos. And we like, that doesn't make sense. No, that's not true. You guys realize we still haven't heard from the soldier who was apparently rescued from Iran in this amazing rescue operation with no injuries. As I mentioned with Sarah, we live in a post-truth society. And they're willing to tell Americans any lie in order to keep their support for the war as high as possible. Because as I mentioned with Sarah, this is according to the White House. It was 60%. 60% of the American people support a peace deal. The White House is bragging about that despite them purposely killing it. Because they can't tell Israel they can't slaughter people in Lebanon. So this is utter tactical defeat. And then this number and the amount of Americans who support the Iran war will continue to decrease drastically as they see more of these dead Goy soldiers arrive in their dead Goy box, because they're going to be a lot more. They're coming back big time. I think I tweeted this in response. What was the tweet? Look, this is CENTCOM talking about their sacrifice. She was 19 years old, bro. What? 19. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Your whole life thrown away for what? Because you didn't want to get a real job? What? That's crazy. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm nicer to these people than, and I am more considerate to these people. And this is why I wanted to say to Sarah, like, when you see me mention this stuff, it's because I care about their lives more than these corrupt politicians who are more than happy to thank them for sacrificing their life for some shit that doesn't matter. What's worse? Me being extremely blunt about how they're selling your children out and they're dying fighting war for no reason, and me wanting to stop that from happening? Or the Lindsey Graham, Donald Trump types who are more than happy to send these soldiers out to die, but they will say nice things about them? Which one is more of a net negative for humanity? So I'd rather be the bad guy and say the hard truths that people know is true, but they don't want to say out loud, to save not only just United States military lives, but lives of people all around the world. I'd rather be mean to the class trader who signed up to fight in the United States military because they go overseas and they murder people all around the world. And then people make all these excuses about poverty drives and how they had no choice. So did the people in the global south in these countries who they murdered. They had no choice either. So you realize that if we want to stop the war machine, we have to become more serious than what the establishment left has been. We have to make it a social stigma to join the military. We need to create a society. I think we're on our way here because a lot of people are starting to repeat my narrative now on this. Where someone said they're going to join the military, this is where we need to be at. Whenever someone said they're about to join the military before we dismantle the empire, everyone should roll their eyes. Gonna do what? Nigga, you know they're sending people to Iran, right? The fuck you? What? Why would you join the military? Get the fuck out of my house. We got to turn it into a social stigma. You think we're gonna end the wars via legislation? Political movements? No, it's upon us. This is why I'm a communist. I'm a Marxist-Leninist, whatever you want to define me as, but I'm not a liberal. Liberals like to strip people of personal accountability. These people had no choice. Don't you know they wanted education? Fam, I believe that we are all responsible for our destiny. Things may not be fair, but it's upon us to organize and engage in class warfare and enlightenment and enlighten our children as well. If you're not doing it, you can't really complain. You just living your life as a victim. And liberals just want people to be victims. I believe that it's upon us to demilitarize the ruling class. How do we demilitarize the ruling class? We don't sign up to fight their wars, period. And anyone who does, we should treat as a traitor. Yes, there's always choice, but you guys realize that the peasants in Middle England, not even that long ago, honestly, like 150, 200 years ago, they didn't have a choice. Many soldiers who were drafted before in the era of feudal lords, you did not have a choice. If your feudal lord wanted you to fight and die in a war, that's the fuck you're gonna do. This is an example of advancement that we made in society where we're like, hey man, you guys are not our masters and our Lord, and you shouldn't be sending people out to die in wars. That's like one of the basic advancements that we made in the era of enlightenment. So in an era where we are not being forced with the threat of torture and treason charges to fight for the military, it's upon us to take this weakness of the ruling class, something that our previous generations took from them. Our previous revolutionaries took from them the ability to draft us and send us to war. So we need to use that as a weapon against the ruling class. And this is what peace movements in the West failed to do. Because they will say, well, I respect people in the military. Oh, we respect the service. We honor your service. There's this military culture, which is completely not compatible with a peace movement. If you want a peace movement, we got to live a peace movement. The Epstein class can't start war with Iran without our consent. We are their soldiers. So I'd rather be a little bit mean to the people who join the military. I'd rather say stuff that's a little bit uncomfortable for military families in order to spread the correct message that will help humanity as a whole. Because if we demilitarize the United States by refusing to participate, that's one less child in Gaza. That's one less child in Iraq. That's one less child in Iran. One less child in Vietnam. I can go on and on who wouldn't die. I think that this is a very valid point too. And this is where I'm at. I just got to explain my mindset for people. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a damn over your feelings. Big shout out to Chicago Go Girl 81. I couldn't give a crap about anyone feeling. Yeah, it's more important to save people's lives by demilitarizing the United States and stopping people from making an unbelievable mistake. Because once you join, it's not so easy to quit. Get that dishonorable discharge. Get prison time. So doesn't it make more sense for me to be, and all of us, to be blunt about the reality of what it means to sign up to be a dead goy soldier? Here's some more people who don't have a choice. Let's get to our Ukraine segment. I think that's a pretty good transition. Here are people who have no choice but to become cannon fodder for the NATO military-industrial complex machine. And isn't it interesting how the NATO left has zero criticism of the fact that you have paramilitary fascist forces paroling the streets in Ukraine, kidnapping people off the damn streets to fight a war they don't give a damn about? The majority of the Ukrainian people say they want a negotiated peace settlement with Russia. But NATO, who actually running this war, not Zelensky, not the puppet who refuses to hold an election, and they refuse to hold an election because they know the Ukrainians will send a devastating referendum towards the Zelensky government in the NATO proxy war. So that's why, don't you know that we can have elections during wartime, even though every other country does it as well? The United States have elections during wartime. We about to have a midterm while going to war with Iran. It was something that was brought to light that society should have elections during wartime during the Age of Enlightenment. It's important to have elections during wartime because it gives people a vote. It gives people the chance to send the government a message whether they support or do not support the war. We had elections during our Civil War. Yeah, I knew someone would bring it up. During the Civil War in the United States, we had elections. So this whole nonsense about Zelensky can't have elections because it's not in their constitution. Oh, this shows in a nutshell why liberals are defenders of fascism, why they uphold fascism. Because according to liberals, according to Democrats, you can have fascism in your country as long as you write it down first. They will say, don't you know that Zelensky, he can cancel elections. His constitution says it. So, motherfucker, that's a piece of paper. So liberals are okay with fascism as long as you write it down on paper first. You realize that? So, getting back to the story, one of the reasons why they won't have an election because the Ukrainian people will send a massive referendum against NATO, and they can't have that. The same way they fell victim to a massive referendum when the mostly Russian-speaking Ukrainians in the Donbass, Lugansk region, I don't know why we call it that. The Lugansk region, they voted in referendum to leave the fascist Ukrainian regime and become part of Russia in the referendum. And that was one thing that led to their escalated conflict, bombing and shelling, their indiscriminate slaughter of ethnic Russians. And that is me quoting a UN report. A UN report that came out in 2018 that progressives used to talk about, and then the collective amnesia happened, known as the Russian military operation. And then whenever I bring this up to the left in the United States, they're like, come on, Nick, stop being so serious. Stop being so smart. Don't you know we got to pretend dumb? You guys notice whenever I bring this up to people, they're like, come on, man, why are you bringing all this shit up? Why are you being so serious about this? Who cares if we support Nazis a little bit? Who cares that Ro Khanna used to oppose us, but now he's a big cheerleader of this? Dude, they used to write stories about this stuff in the BBC and Western media all the time. The civil war in Ukraine, the extremism of the Azov regime, and why Western politicians shouldn't be supporting it. I remember this is before I had a platform, but I was still strong into geopolitics. I remember vividly reading about this stuff in Ukraine in the late 2010s. I saw Noam Chomsky, even like more liberal-minded people talk about Nazism in Ukraine, how NATO started its proxy war with Russia in order to create a base where they can spy and destabilize the Russian state. Now everyone in the West, the NATO left, including every single DSA candidate, and I mean everyone, even Dara Liza, who used to get this right and is now forced to backtrack on this, by the way. They are all forced to support the Nazi war in Ukraine, which had led to a complete population collapse in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders, fine with fighting to the last Ukrainian. Cori Bush, you guys know who everyone's so excited that she's running again. She is 100% support of fighting to the last Ukrainian. The progressives in the Democratic Party, they remember when they drafted a memo saying that we should pursue peace, and then they got a fraction of a pressure and then they withdrew that. And ever since then, they've been loyal NATO soldiers, despite the fact that because of this NATO proxy war, Europe has implemented massive, which led to pensions being cut in Germany, healthcare being cut, an energy crisis that destabilized the working class, and then these DSA frauds, after supporting the NATO proxy war, which is destabilizing the working class in Europe and costing the American taxpayer, they would then turn around and tell you that we are fighting for the working class. We are DSA. We stand for the environment, even though we're going to support the Ukrainian regime that is responsible for the Nord Stream pipeline bombing, the largest act of eco-terrorism in modern human history. No, scratch that. In human history. 450,000 metric tons of methane was leaked into the environment. But you got climate activists like LC, Ilhan Omar, that stands with Palestine. Graham Platinum, they didn't give a fuck about Graham Platinum for this. They're like, don't you know we got to save the planet? And they support eco-terrorism. So it's more than just a difference of strategy. Don't get it wrong. There's a big difference of strategy. But this is an unreconcilable difference in our ideologies. That I will refuse to support empire, Nazism, for the false promise of welfare programs. That sums up my criticism of DSA and Social Democrats in a nutshell. You notice whenever I bring it up and mention that, no one ever has a counter to that. Because you would then have to say, well, if you disagree with my point, you then have to publicly admit that I am for supporting some empire shit. I am for throwing the global south under the bus. I am in support of supporting Nazis in Ukraine just so we can get free buses. Just so we can get a committee assignment, so we can have a hearing potentially discussing putting Medicare for all for a vote. You guys are not even getting these things. So as Ukraine is facing a population collapse, as Europe is facing mass austerity as a result of this war, the NATO left has zero criticisms of this, and I think that's extremely damning, and why I'm not even excited if they take power. Because if they are willing to get this issue wrong for the establishment, what else do you guys think they're willing to do in order to maintain their position in their social club? The fact that no one, not a single progressive, not a single NATO leftist will at least tweet out, hey man, why is Ukrainians being kidnapped off the streets? Dude, have you guys seen the crazy? Look at this. This is crazy. Western media will not touch this with a 15-foot pole. They will not touch the story. You guys see this guy was cycling. He was riding his bike, and these fascist, ICE-like military recruiters, I'll read the description in case you have a hard time understanding what's going on. A TRC van pulls up and cuts off a cyclist on the street of Moldova. Several draft officers jump out and seize him within seconds and shove him into the vehicle. Only then do they load his bicycle into the van. This is what conscription looks like in Ukraine. This is the fascist Nazi militia being led by NATO, kidnapping Ukrainians off the streets and forcing them to die on behalf of NATO. You want to see how crazy this is? Here it is again. This guy riding his bike, and here the Ukrainian fascist army just kidnapping them. And then they send them to the front line to die. So do you realize how ridiculous it is that NATO leftists and DSA leftists will then look at me and my politics and my opposition to the NATO proxy war, and they'll be like, Nick, why don't you care about the Ukrainians? Nick, why are you a Putin puppet? Meanwhile, they don't give a fuck about any of this. They don't care that the Ukrainian people are at their wits' end. Look at this headline. The BBC, do you know how crazy it is that this has become such a problem that Western corporate media now has to acknowledge it? Because this is becoming a big problem because the Ukrainian people are starting to fight back. Look, this is the headline I had up during my intro monologue. Everyone's afraid to die. Struggle to recruit soldiers in Ukraine turn violent. Bro, these people not letting the Zelensky regime send their kids off to fight and die in a war without a struggle. They did that a few times trying to be nice, and they seen the result of that. They seen people had their family members kidnapped and they never came back. So they're like, nigga, we about to fight back then. Bernie Sanders and the NATO left want them to keep dying. This is the insanity that Ukrainian recruits are forced to go through. I'll read the description. Look, a humiliation ritual in the distribution center known as the Hen House, where they mobilize Ukrainian men are brought after conscription. So this is what they kidnap these men. I'll mute this here. And then they torture them, essentially. They force people who didn't train to fight in the war. They put them through these drills, turn them into a soldier against their wish. Look, they're kicking them. And they're treated horribly throughout this entire process. Imagine if you're someone who is busy working a job, you're not as in good shape as you used to be, and you get kidnapped off streets from Ukraine, and then you are forced to do these exercises where they beat the shit out of you if you show any weakness. So this is the caption. This is a humiliation ritual, which it is. Distribution. And there are a lot of evidence, a lot of videos that's called Russian propaganda, where these people are straight up abused. So you guys see how they are, which is, this will be okay if you had a volunteer army. I know I don't want to sound like a wimp here. If you had a volunteer army, this would be 100% okay. If you had a basketball team, if you had a fight team, that would be 100% okay to do this. These are people who did not sign up to fight this war. And you guys are putting them through brutal, brutal training that they didn't want to do. I don't know. Do you guys agree? I think this is fucked up. And I'm someone who's physically active. To force people to do this. Anyway, the people in Ukraine agree with me because this is what the Western corporate media have been trying to hide for a long time. The riots in Ukraine. You want to know why they're rioting? Because they see Western politicians do photo ops with Zelensky. Where they will say in public, they will say, yeah, we're in it to the end. We're down to fight to the last Ukrainian. The Ukrainians like, you talking about me? Like, not me? Hell no. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to be a part of NATO. I didn't sign up for this. So how many of the NATO left is covering this? The majority report, and I'm saying this by name because I don't want you to think I'm making a straw man. You guys know who I'm talking about. So the majority report, who is openly Banderite pro-Nazi, will you ever see them cover this on their show? Will you ever see any of these people who support the progressive Democrats, who support the NATO Nazis, will you ever see them cover this story? Of course you won't. It will reveal how they are useful idiots for the fascism in Ukraine that is destroying Ukrainian lives. So it's people like me, despite the smears, it's people like me who actually care about the Ukrainian people. Not the NATO left. Oh, let me mute this. Here's Glenn. He does great reporting. The riots, and how you say that, Lviv? I wish Zoya was here. She would know how to say it. Riots in Lviv over the brutal forced conscription financed by NATO. The majority of Ukrainians want immediate negotiations to end the war. They are obviously not in the minds of our political media establishment, who claim to stand with Ukraine while boycotting diplomacy and pushing for war. That's why I find this story very interesting, and I'm very loud about that. This is another reason why I'm blacklisted from a lot of outlets, because I'm unapologetically pro-peace with Russia. It seems like that would be there's a pretty big deal. We had negative relations with Russia. We should have peace with Russia. And I would never in a million years apologize for being a peace activist. But as someone who followed this story for a very, very long time, way before I became a citizen journalist, I'm not going to allow the professional managerial class to continue to lie to people about this conflict. And it's crazy the amount of lies that have been spread. Zoran Mamdani, every single one of the progressive Democrats that you guys like, every single one of them support the NATO proxy war uncritically. That's the requirement. You guys realize that's the requirement to be endorsed by DSA and Progressive Victory, these shadow groups. That's the way you get the money from George Soros and the Working Families Party. They have publicly withheld funds from candidates who wasn't strongly in support of Ukraine. So this is a hypothetical question. What is the point? What is the benefit of your quote-unquote welfare programs that you want to promote as a progressive if global energy markets are tanked with full-out war with Russia? What does these incremental reformist policies matter if the world is on fire? It doesn't. These little, you guys you think this is a worthy sacrifice? Oh, guys, we gotta focus on domestic policy, bro. It's not like domestic policy and foreign policy is related at all. It's not like it affects our markets and our finances at all. It's okay that the Democratic Party, including Cory Bush and the progressives, send billions of dollars to Ukraine as the working class was struggling. That's okay. Let's just worry about domestic issues. I'm sorry. I'm not going to use my platform to explain this on Sabby and my friend Russ on the Jimmy Dore show. I'm not going to use my platform to dumb down the left. I'm going to use my platform to help people connect the dots on all these issues. And that's why I don't consider these people to be this massive lesser evil vote for humanity. They're plunging humanity into nuclear war, leading to the destabilization of Ukraine, the people that they claim they care about. Here's some more. I can show you guys these all day. There's so many of these videos that Western corporate media will not cover. You had to follow independent journalists like Glenn Beacon, DDGeopolitics. There's some more. Angry crowds overturn Ukrainian conscription vehicle. So they flipping vehicles and shit. Bro, Ukrainians are so furious with the Zelensky regime, which is why they won't have elections. They're flipping vehicles and they're now going on the offensive. As I mentioned earlier, they witnessed their family members being sent to the front line where they face certain death. The disparity between dead Russian soldiers and dead Ukrainian soldiers is mind-blowing. We covered this on the show before, and we know that despite all the media and the propaganda that British intelligence wants you to believe, one of the best ways you can confirm the differences in death count between one army and another is when they exchange bodies, when they have a exchange of dead bodies. Every time they have these exchanges of death between the Ukrainian and Russian soldiers, the ratio is like around 80-1. I need a fact check, but it's always something crazy. Like it would be like one dead Russian soldier for like 50 dead Ukrainian soldiers. So the point I'm making is if you're drafted and you stay on the front line, it's not like you're a drone operator, the people will save. It's not like you're a commander. You're still on the front line and you are facing certain death. That's why people realize after losing so many people in their family, the Ukrainian people are now desperate. And now since they know that NATO and the European United States left has mostly abandoned them, they realize that their only choice that they have is engaging in mass resistance. So they flipping vehicles. They're engaging in riots. And this is becoming such a big problem, guys, that we are just now seeing BBC and corporate media cover this. I think this is a short from the BBC. Look, why are Ukraine's military recruiters facing violence? Look, the BBC woke up from their coma.
Tensions over military recruitment here in Ukraine have just exploded. There was a huge brawl in Lviv after a military patrol stopped a man to check his call-up papers and ended up under attack. An officer was injured. A military car was hit with bricks.
So you got people can't say I hate. When people say I hate Ukrainians, what are you talking about? I fuck with these people. I don't like Nazis. I don't like the Nazis in Ukraine who wanted to ban the Russian language. The people who burned striking workers alive. I don't like the people who wanted to join with the genocidal West and make Ukraine into a new Israel, like Zelensky said he wanted to. I have admiration for the ethnic Russians in Ukraine, like my friend Zoya. She's from Odessa, former USSR. So the idea that, and this is the only response people have to me in my position, they just assume, oh, nigga, you just hate Ukraine. How am I being accused of hating Ukraine when we are the one trying to save them? You guys are 100% okay with Ukraine being dismantled as a state just to slightly weaken Russia.
Over military recruitment here in Ukraine have just exploded. There was a huge brawl in Lviv after a military patrol stopped a man to check his call-up papers and ended up under attack. An officer was injured. A military car was hit with bricks and then rolled. There have been similar violent scenes in Dnipro to the south and elsewhere. And earlier this year, a recruitment officer was even stabbed. So why is it happening? Well, after more than 4 years of all-out war and so many casualties, it is getting really hard to find people who actually want to fight. And
So if you acknowledge that you guys are running out of people to throw into the cannon fodder while Russia has a limited amount of people who are willing to fight against the existential threat of the NATO alliance and the genocidal regime in the West, isn't it obvious that you guys never stood a chance and this is what we told your dumbass 4 years ago? This is exactly what we told you motherfuckers years ago. That eventually, because just the reality, it doesn't matter how good you fight, the reality is Ukraine is a much smaller nation than Russia. When you're fighting a nation that's much bigger than you, the chances of you winning is essentially non-existent simply because of the human death factor. So now when the BBC, they're now trying to inform their audience something that they're not informed of, that they've been hidden about. Because they think everyone in Ukraine wants to fight war. Everyone in Ukraine, they want to fight Russia, don't they? So now the BBC, they got to explain to their audience. I love when they get to this part. I love when they get to the part where they have to explain to their audience why they've been bullshitting them the entire time. So this is the BBC like, well, actually, I know we told you guys that Ukraine was winning the war, but actually they're running out of people to throw in on the battlefield. They're running out of soldiers. Doesn't that defeat the entire narrative that you and BBC been trying to share to your people that Russia is losing the war? Let's finish this.
Well, after more than 4 years of all-out war and so many casualties, it is getting really hard to find people who actually want to fight. And when draft officers drag people off the streets, others get scared and get angry. Reports of beatings and abuse in recruitment centers are adding to the anger.
Holy shit! They actually covered it. I forgot about that part. Bro, she actually covered the fact that the Ukrainian recruits face massive abuse. I saw someone in the comments that said, why are they covering this now? It's a good question. Where's the comment here? Yeah, Casey, why is the BBC covering this? That's fishy. Yeah, who knows? What do you guys think? I'm gonna ask you guys. Why do you guys think the BBC and Western media is now telling the truth? My first reaction is because this is becoming too overwhelming. Fam, even though the Western corporate media is not showing you these street brawls that's going on between the Ukrainian people and the recruitment officers, I've been seeing it for years now. Because Russian state media, they're not ignoring it. Do you think Chinese media is ignoring this? Do you think Chinese social media influencers, do you think they're ignoring this? Do you think African media outlets, do you think they're ignoring this? Bro, everyone around the world except the global minority known as the West is looking about what's going on in Ukraine the same way as Gaza, Lebanon, and all these conflicts. They're looking at this stuff like, bro, this is crazy. This is crazy. And they're like, bro, we need anyone to see this. So my answer is they have to cover this because the evidence is becoming too overwhelming, which is why it's going to be interesting to see how the NATO left continues to defend supporting this conflict, because they will. It's easy to look good when you're in the minority, bro. Wait till Democrats take power again. And you see all your favorite progressive Democrats like Brad Lander vote for more Ukraine aid packages. You know, remember those announcements under the Biden administration that used to piss everyone off? We approved another $10 billion to Ukraine. Wait till that shit start happening again. And then all your favorite progressive politicians start voting for it again. Because they will. They will be voting for this slaughter, this meat grinder. Dude, this is actually a surprisingly informative segment by BBC. I have no idea why they're running it, because 99% of the time, the BBC is causing mass confusion and pushing disinformation on this conflict. So this is a very rare time where the BBC is actually telling the truth, saying, hey, man, the people in Ukraine are upset that they've been thrown to this fight. Let's finish it.
Why is it happening? Well, after more than 4 years of all-out war and so many casualties, it is getting really hard to find people who actually want to fight. And when draft officers drag people off the streets, others get scared and get angry. Reports of beatings and abuse in recruitment centers are adding to the anger. President Zelensky condemned the brawl in Lviv as very bad, and he urged the defense ministry to get on with reforms meant to motivate people to fight so they don't have to be forced. But this is a crisis that has been building for some time.
It's a crisis.
And there are no simple tensions.
She said there's no simple solutions, bro. Just negotiate it in. It's over. Just take the L, NATO. That's her refusing to take the L.
But this is a crisis that has been building for some time, and there are no simple tensions.
There's no simple solution. Hey, you hear this? Take this. This is an L. Why can't you guys just take the fucking L, bro? This is a crisis. The people are not on your side. This is why Putin would never negotiate with Zelensky. Because he's rightfully calls out Zelensky as being the illegitimate puppet that he is. Because he had an election and he will get blown out. Well, the only choice they would have was to put like a Zelensky clone next to him where they have no differences in policy. And they would still vote against Zelensky, even if it was a Zelensky clone, just out of spite of Zelensky. That's why they can't have these elections. Well, I'm not cherry picking. Why do you think the BBC is forced to report on this now? This is a epidemic. Look at this. These are street brawls. I've been wanting to do another segment on this for a while now. Look at the street brawls. Ukrainians fighting in the streets. They're being forced to engage in physical resistance that may cost them their lives because the peace movement in the West failed them. The left in the United States, which doesn't include me, I am not part of the mainstream progressive left. I do not have the clout that a lot of these people do. We are trying to build movements, but the mainstream progressive left in the United States and Europe sold all these people out. And they are more than happy to have their family members die just so they can slightly weaken Russia, because Bernie Sanders will never forgive Russia for costing Hillary Clinton the election. They will never admit that last part, but that's a reason why a lot of them don't like him. Who is this? An ex-spokesperson for Zelensky writing a bold expose on the real story behind the scenes of Ukraine. I'm actually not familiar with this person at all, but look at this. Forced mobilization is one of the most disturbing and dehumanizing developments Ukraine has faced since gaining independence, yet it receives strikingly little attention from mainstream international media. In reality, it is the issue of forced mobilization that has generated the deepest public outrage. This is Zelensky's former spokesperson. Interesting. This is becoming a problem that the Ukrainians have to reconcile with. It gets no attention from the mainstream international media, including the quote-unquote progressive independent media like Majority Report and other satellites, who never report on this story because they don't want their pro-NATO politicians looking bad. They don't want Cori Bush to look bad, so they don't want to expose the war that she supports. They don't want Brad Lander to look bad, so they won't expose the harsh reality of the wars that they support. It's no different than a liberal who supports a Zionist politician who refuses to cover Israel. It's the same damn thing. So yeah, there's a lot of worries about this. I don't have to read the whole thing. Dozens of Ukrainian men. This is Donald Trump helping NATO. And all the progressive Democrats who are against ICE, you notice that they never had criticism of ICE doing this. Because Donald Trump, with Democrats, have been using ICE to deport Ukrainian men. You can't make this up. Now the EU is helping. The EU is joining Donald Trump in order to punish Ukrainian men who are not being sent to the meat grinder. When they said they want to fight to the last Ukrainian, they truly meant it, fam. So not only are they kidnapping Ukrainian men off the streets in Ukraine, any military-age Ukrainian man in the United States is being targeted by ICE, and they're being forced out of Europe because their refugee status is being revoked, and their benefits are being cut. They're being hostilely removed from European societies as they then turn around and tell people how they stand with the Ukrainian people. Do you guys see the moral failures of liberalism? Because they're joining Trump to do this. Ask a NATO leftist about this and watch how fast they block you or change the topic. Ukrainian men being deported by ICE, and then they were sent straight to the front line. So here's the EU, and there's so many stories like this. Germany, like Friedrich Merz. I did a hotspot video about this, where Friedrich Merz was standing next to Zelensky, and he was explaining how every single Ukrainian man all around the world had the obligation to fight this war on behalf of NATO. And even if that means they cut benefits, even if they mean they respond to them economically, they will force them back on the battlefield because it's a war of tremendous importance, according to Friedrich Merz and these NATO politicians. Are you guys understanding the position I have now? Do people understand why I view this as a red line? I would not support a progressive who support NATO proxy wars. I stand against Nazism on principle. I stand against imperial overreach of NATO invading and disrupting the sovereignty of Russia. I view that as a red line, the same way I view it as a red line in Gaza and in Lebanon. And I have a hard time reconciling my politics with people who are in support of this Nazi agenda in NATO, which is leaving Ukrainians to be completely destabilized. Like, you guys can tell with my conversation with Sarah that we may not align and we don't agree on everything. I'm a diehard communist and she's not really a communist. You guys know I have disagreements with Shama. We discuss our disagreements with Shama on this show. But you're not seeing Shama Sawant support Nazis in Ukraine. You're not seeing the ACP support Nazis in Ukraine. Jill Stein is not supporting the Nazis in Ukraine. The wing of the Green Party that I support, not supporting Nazis. This is, to me, no one can make a coherent argument on why this shouldn't be a red line. And I just, believe it or not, despite this being around of almost an hour segment, I'm just scratching the surface. Because as I did on Jimmy Dore show with Russ, as I did on the Sabi show, even if for some reason you don't care about the fate of the Ukrainian people and the fate of Russia and the global economic order, okay, you guys care about Palestine, right? You guys care about the genocide in Sudan. Now, actually, I'm giving them way too much credit. They don't give a fuck about Sudan. But let's humor them and let's say they care about all these issues. NATO is funding all those fucking genocides and wars. The UK just helped the United States. I actually have to see. They helped them with pilots and planes and bombing Iran. NATO played a very crucial role in Donald Trump waging war against the Iranian people. They played a giant role in helping Israel slaughter people in Lebanon. So the more that NATO is weakened, I was giving them way too much credit for Sudan. They don't even know. They couldn't find Sudan on the map. They don't give a damn about Sudan. But you guys get my point. If you care about other issues, because for some reason there's a fucking group of Nazi-loving leftists in the United States who it's hard to reach them on this issue. You guys know what I'm talking about. The Hassan Piker left. But if you care about every other geopolitical issue, like Jody Barr says, as the NATO imperial project expands and gets more powerful, that increases their ability to wage war and genocides elsewhere. Russia played a big part of demilitarizing and holding back the military capacity of the United States and the West to destroy Iran. All these issues are connected, and I will die before I allow the left in the United States, and at least the left in my community, to be dumbed down to the point where we cannot connect all these issues. That's my job. That's our job to do that, to help connect the dots in all these. But with that said, I think I'm kind of ranting now. We're almost 2 hours in. I got a trip to prepare for. I'm going to be on the road for 9 hours tomorrow, driving to Chicago. But I'm looking forward to it. I get to meet a lot of comrades again. I I live in the middle of nowhere, man. I live in Missouri. I don't even live in Kansas City, but my ops don't have to know that. A lot of people think I still live in Kansas City, but I don't really live in Kansas City no more. I live about 25 minutes away from Kansas City. But hey, like I said, my ops don't have to know that. I tell people I live in Kansas City so people can't find me. But so I live in the middle of nowhere. So whenever I get a chance to meet with comrades and organize with comrades, like seeing Joe Stein, seeing my brother Rome again in Chicago. I'm gonna meet a lot of comrades who I already talked to in Chicago. It's always a great thing. I'm always very excited about that. And I'm also very excited for building something, building a new party. I don't understand why people are tranquilized by electoralism. You guys don't want to build something? Like I want to help make the Green Party a legitimate party. There are a lot of criticisms people can have of the Green Party and their inability to be successful, but that because they didn't have that popular support. We need to turn the Green Party to the anti-imperialist, anti-Zionist party that it had the potential to be because they had the ballot lines. So that's why I'm being building solidarity, building parties, trying to improve the Green Party. This is what I believe should happen. I'm not an anarchist. I don't believe that change happens out of nowhere. I believe that we need to form parties, form organizations, and then form like Voltron together in order to fight the capitalist class. Because I have RBN. I've been asked to join ACP, and I told them, like, bro, I like ACP, but Rome is my leader. You know what I mean? Like, Haas is great. Haas is your guys' leader. Rome is my leader. Shama Sawan's the leader of people who organize and worker strike back. Jill Stein could be considered a leader of many people in the Green Party. You can have whatever your own party is. We just have to build our parties, and then we come together and we meet, we organize, we brainstorm, we build. This thing where people say, well, I don't believe in political parties. What's the point of building political parties? Guys, I strongly disagree with that anarchist bullshit. You can't just bomb factories. You can't just bomb bridges, get sent to prison for 25 years and expect a revolution to happen. That way anarchists believe. Anarchists are like, let's just bomb a few bridges. That will lead to revolution. No, you're just going to get sent to prison, motherfucker. You got to build an infrastructure first before you do militant shit. And that's what I believe. We need to build an infrastructure. We need to start building militias ourselves. There's that's revolutionary venturism. That's a whole nother conversation. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can't do stuff just to piss people off. You can't do random bullshit, which has, like, the left, which has been led by anarchist mentality. They do virtual signaling nonsense. They'll block a highway. They'll do all this stuff, but they will have no party built. They will have no infrastructure built in order to take advantage of this movement. That is what I'm trying to change. We need some sort of infrastructure. You know what I mean? So that's why I want to form coalition with the Green Party. That's why I want to form coalition with the ACP. That's why I form coalition with Shama. Anyone who is outside the duopoly, anyone who shares anti-capitalist and anti-Zionist beliefs. So let's get to work. You know what I mean? Yeah, Fred, we've seen the path. It's not entryism. It's not revolutionary venturism. The path has been laid set to us. Do not fall into nihilism. When I go on these shows and I talk to Russ about nihilism, I'm not just telling you guys that. I'm literally trying to do everything I can to build this new left movement as I can. RBN, we had a lot of failures, and I took a lot of L during RBN, but we're still learning and we're still growing, and I will never stop fighting the Epstein class. And I just want people to get in the goddamn game. Whether you like Zoran Mamdani or these politicians, it doesn't matter as long as you get in the goddamn game and do not support the duopoly. Anyway, let's read some super chats and let's get out here. And I got to prepare for my trip. Most of all, do some mutual aid. You guys got some great comments. And if you're one of them people that don't want to form a party, don't do it then. Do whatever fuck. Do your revolutionary venturism that has been working so well for the left of the United States. No, we need to fucking build. We need to build our own outside structures. The path has been laid out for us. We just need to get to work. So I don't have all the answers, but that's why we have summits with the Green Party to hash these issues out. That's why we talk to ACP. That's why we talk to anyone to hash these issues out. The cancel culture left make no sense to me, man. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, Yeah, like people get so loyal to like their party and their brand. Like PSL people, they be like, fuck ACP, no, join PSL. Nigga, why can't you just join PSL and you guys come together on issues you agree on? Like the discourse I see from the left on social media, that's the most black pilling shit to me. I would never work with this person. I would never work with this. Don't you know he's PSL? Don't you know he's Green Party? No, I would never work with ACP. What are you doing? Bro, the working class is being strangled. The capitalist class is unifying to promote fascism. But you guys are having these pathetic inner squad battles. You guys see how that's the most black pilling shit to me. Like there was some person like, what, Nick? Why are you even going to the Green Party conference? Don't you know? Well, why even build the Green Party? Why not? Give me a reason why we shouldn't. Give us a reason why there shouldn't be a party. You build your own movement. Let's come together, find a way to make life better for each other. Is there any alternative plan? Not at all. So let's get to work. Period. Thanks for a $4.99, Mikey Shaw. I'm gonna quickly read some of the super chats. Zoya got a day off today. We gotta let Zoya relax every once in a while, my friends. Turned out unlimited free enterprise just leads to oligarchy and fascism. Yep. I don't have the answers though. Pointing out the problem is a very important point, though. Very important to do that. Thank for the $5, Robert Fernandez. YouTube gave me commercials every 5 minutes on live stream. Yeah, I think I read this one earlier. Please, Nick, what's your Rumble channel? Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on Rumble. The problem with Rumble is they don't pay and they suppress left-wing content. Like whenever I go live on Rumble, they just suppress the shit out of us. So it's like it like to me, going to Rumble is like just replacing YouTube with another fucking YouTube. Except it ran by shady crypto oligarchs. Like they're like these shady right-wing libertarian bros, and they suppress left-wing content on there. And the only people they pay on Rumble for their content is people they make contracts with. So they exploit labor and they throttle left content on Rumble. So personally, guys, I never understood the hype. That's why you guys think I haven't been streaming on Rumble. I never understood the hype on Rumble. But I guess it sucks. YouTube ads do suck though. I get it. But I don't get Rumble's not it. I just tweeted that America is 330 million individuals, while China is 1.4 billion citizen community. Absolutely. Oh yeah, I like Chicago. You already know we cool. I am interested in hearing the alternative. I really am. I'm dead ass. Because whenever people argue against party building, they usually do it without offering a solution. Like what else will we be doing? Supporting Democrats? The fuck? What else is there? Because you use your party building. That's what mutual aid is for. If you're doing giveaways and you're doing charity without party building and without movement building, that is not mutual aid. So if you're one of the people that say, well, I don't support party building, I support mutual aid, they can easily be one of the same. You build a party to engage in mutual aid. That's why Rome has the care party. Like, this is what Marxist-Leninists advocate for. But I like Chicago Go Girl 81, always leave great comments. I legitimately will be interested in hearing what you guys say. I heard, and I am familiar with the anarchist style argument, and it is not convincing to me. I don't have an alternative electorally, but it is my opinion that the leadership of any organization will inevitably be corrupted and infiltrated. The best way, any government has a possibility to be infiltrated and corrupted is by having a hard party line, party discipline that you can prevent that from happening. So I get, and this is a legitimate concern. This is the debate about leaderless movement, movement with the leader. If you have a movement with a leader, that a leader can be corrupt and it can ruin the movement. The idea is to build a structure, which is why entryism as the Democratic Party would never work, because the structure exists to embolden corruption. But you want to create a structure, harsh ideological discipline. The reason why a lot of parties get corrupted because people in the West have been brainwashed with the ideas of oh, we can't be authoritarian. You can't, because people in DSA, they have a wide tent in DSA because they view expelling members as authoritarian. Oh yeah, we have Zionists in DSA, but what can we do? Expel them? We can't expel the Jews. Nigga, you expel anyone who does not follow the party line, and you build your party line using a lot of different organizing tactics, and that's the best way. And once again, to be clear, to be fair to this audience, to this comment, that is not a surefire way to stop organizations from being corrupted, but it's our best line of defense, because any movement that is not built on an organized and strict party line, that movement will be way more likely, way more susceptible to being infiltrated and corrupted. So yeah, I think you bring up a legitimate point here, but I think that's the even more reason why we need to build a disciplined party. This is why we upset their former RBN members who didn't like the fact that me and Rome, we drew a hard line on some stuff, man. Like, you remember how they were like, well, you got RBN is toxic. That's what Afeni and them said, because Afeni was a Democrat who worked for Democrats. And you guys know what happened in the past, but because we used to draw ideological line. Like, we will have these debates and conversations. And if you can't explain to me why this shit should make sense to me, RBN is not going to adopt it. You know what I mean? You need to have a harsh ideological line. Anyway, thank you for the comment. It's very thought-provoking. I do appreciate the comment. And I appreciate any pushback from the audience, especially ones who operate in good faith. This is another good response. That's why communism works, the Chinese model. Damn, I need to get off. I'm 2 hours in. What the fuck I'm doing? Hope all is well, man. A greeting from ACP in Florida. And once again, how can I not like the ACP homies, bro? From day one, the ACP homies always propped up RBN mutual aid. As other left factions and groups mirrored RBN, as they promoted entryism. It's always been the Midwestern Marx boys, the Eddie Ligers. They always had our back. So why? To me, I will never understand that. It seems like they always have the back of people who are fighting against Zionism. I don't know. That's just me though. And this from Bojangles 3602. Once again, I've been asked, like, I'm not part of ACP because Rome is my leader. Haas is their leader. And I like Haas, but I got a different leader. But I think there's no reason why we shouldn't be forming coalitions with. To me, like, the whole online war about ACP is super strange and confusing to me. And I've been asking people about this I will ask, like, super anti-ACP people why they believe the way they do, and they never have, like, a rational argument. It always, like, goes down to liberalism or some shit. You know what I mean? They never can explain to me why they're toxic to talk to, why we shouldn't be, even if they're a little bit more socially conservative than you. Hey, heads up, the global majority is socially conservative. Iran is a socially conservative society. You can make the arguments because of their drug policies and how they don't, like, celebrate LGBTQ issues, that China is a socially conservative society. Lula's Brazil is a socially conservative society. So, like, whenever people go after ACP, like, don't you know that they have reactionary social conservative view? Yeah, there are people all over the world who's opposed to abortion and all this stuff. You still work and organize for the betterment of the working class and anti-imperialism. And also, by the way, I don't want to be unfair to the ACP. Many people at the ACP do not agree with that characterization. Like, for example, there are LGBT, there are queer and gay ACP members, black and brown ACP. So to me, I never heard a convincing argument against them. The same way I haven't heard a convincing argument on why I shouldn't be working with Joe Stein, why I shouldn't be working with Shama Sawan. Essentially, the anti-solidarity left in the United States, they failed to convince me on why I shouldn't build coalitions and solidarity with other people who are like-minded. So thank you guys for watching. I need to get out here or I will never shut up. Let me plug RBN merch though. Since this is gonna be my, I may do a live stream with Rome in Chicago, we see. But if I do the stream, it's gonna be on the RBN Rome channel. If you don't know, we're still streaming on the RBN channel. Rome is back streaming. The way we are organizing RBN, at least the media apparatus of RBN now, is that we have two chapters. There's the Rome RBN channel, and then there's Nick Cruz RBN. So this is my branch of the RBN media apparatus. Then you have Rome, who runs the main RBN channel, and he's been going live. He's been killing it. So if we do go live in Chicago, I think maybe on Thursday or Friday, maybe Saturday, it will be on the RBN channel. We may do a Nick and Rome show. But this will be the last live stream of this week on this channel, most likely, because I'm going to be in Chicago for a few days. I'm hit the road tomorrow. Got a long drive ahead of myself. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this longer stream. That's why I was like, man, let's do 2 hours today. Give you guys some content. I might cut the Ukraine segment as a. I think that segment could stand on its own. I think I was in the lab cooking for that segment. I was cooking on that Ukraine segment, so I might have to cut that one. But before we end this stream, make sure you support us on Bonfire. We are heavily focused on mutual aid, party building at RBN. If you want a free Palestine shirt while supporting Palestine, you can use our website, because I do not make any money on this at all. I appreciate you guys supporting our labor and our work on Patreon. I will just rely on Patreon. I don't need a lot. I explained to you guys many times before. I live in a low cost of living. I live in the middle of nowhere, Missouri, in some fucking apartment complex. It's super cheap for me to live. I'm like, hey guys, I just need you to support my work on Patreon, so I don't starve in capitalist America. Outside of that, bro, I really don't need anything else. I don't need materialism. I don't need anything, bro. I literally just need to pay my bills and pay and eat. That's it. I don't fucking need anything. Why do you guys think I wear the same polo shirts every damn stream? I'm not pulling up in a new suit. I don't go shopping. I wear the same goddamn shirts. That's why you see the same goddamn shirts on the damn stream. The point I'm making is I am not one who need that much shit. So all the money that you guys spend on the RBN merch store will go to a Palestine mutual aid fund. We're going to use Gaza Fund for that. So I implore anyone who is able to donate to Gaza funds and donate to the victims of the empire. That is extremely important. So do that. But if you want a shirt while doing that, use the RBN merch Bonfire store. The link is in the description. Once again, thank you guys for watching. If you're in Chicago, hit your homie up. Go to the Green Party Conference. It's going to be a great time. I love meeting my comrades in person. Every single person I met in real life has been amazing. All of you guys have been amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing my Chicago comrades again. Take care, guys. Have a good rest of your week. Take care.